There, everybody. Good afternoon and happy Thursday. Happy Women's History Month. It is officially March, y'all, and we're really excited. It's also Social Work Month, so we're going to be this entire month lifting up social issues affecting our communities, and we'll be problem solving as usual. We'll also be bringing in some women guests next week to discuss some of the issues that women are going through in honor of Women's History Month. But today we have such an amazing guest with us, James Carroll from the YMCA, and we're really excited to hear from him and to learn from him. He has been working with young people as the executive director out at the YMCA in the Metro Atlanta area, and we'll get to hear directly from him the strategies that he's been using to help students out there. We want you to remember to subscribe to all of our channels, our YouTube channel, to our podcast. Every Friday, we have a new episode being released. Tomorrow, you're going to be in for a treat. If you enjoyed our Black History segment, you're really going to enjoy March. So don't forget to subscribe to our ATL Rise podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, wherever you choose to listen. And if you're watching us live on our Fireside chat from LinkedIn, don't forget to follow our pages, iRace Inc. Please also follow me, Shaniqua Moore, on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. All right, let's get started. James, thank you so much for being with us at short notice and for joining us. We're really excited to have you here.
Absolutely, absolutely, no problem at all. And thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as usual, I want to formally introduce James to those that may not know him to his bio. So I'll be reading his bio and then we'll jump into our topic of conversation today. So James is actually from Memphis, Tennessee. He is a supporting husband and a father of two wonderful sons, and proudly the new associate executive director for the Andrew and Walter Young Family YMCA, which is in the Metro Atlanta area. James started out his career with the Y over 13 years ago in Nashville, Tennessee, for the Middle Tennessee Association, and he was a part-time greeter doing his undergraduate years at the Tennessee State University. Throughout James' life, he's gained a ton of experience with the Y, and he has been able to gain several passions that has helped him embrace his career of choice, such as building lasting relationships, team building, youth and teen development, community impact, staff development, and diversity and inclusion. And throughout his years and his career, he has held many positions as a director, working in multiple capacities throughout his experience at the Y. And recently brought in as the executive director. And I'd love for him to share the story of how he came on to being out in a nice Metro Atlanta area. But he's been doing amazing work at the center, really transforming services in that site. And it's an honor to really have him here with us today. So, James, again, welcome. And if you don't mind sharing your story of how you ended up in Metro Atlanta from Tennessee.
Absolutely, no problem. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my journey with the YMCA started back in 2008. Is when I first started working for the YMCA. I was doing my undergrad years, as you mentioned, at Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee. And so at that time, I did something that most college students don't think about before they make a decision and moving off of campus, and thinking about how real life would hit you
Oh,
so
yeah.
fast. And so my girlfriend in college, who is now my wife, at the time, when I decided to move off campus, and my mom told me that financially she was not going to support me living off of campus. So I was bringing those things to myself. And so my wife suggested that I go and put in an application at the YMCA.
Love
And
it.
so I did so. I first started with the YMCA downtown YMCA branch of Nashville, Tennessee. I first came in just folding towels and greeting people as they came in. And throughout my course of working at that time frame, I was positioned to kind of like be the supervisor of the night, but officially not the supervisor without the title or the pay. And so I
How
said,
that
I'm a strong believer in taking advantage of certain situations and opportunities. So I was like, hey, okay, you guys are giving me everything that make me feel like I'm a manager and a supervisor, as far as just like the authority over the evenings and things like that. And like I said, I don't have the pay or the title, but I was
goes.
like, can I at least start dressing up? Like, can I like dress in dress clothes and make myself feel, I'm a part of the supervisory team. And
Mhm.
so with that, I just took those initiatives, and I started to, just started to present myself at the YMCA in a sense to where I was able to show up and also, show others that, it's not always about the dollar. I was in it for the experience as well. And so from that point, I've had several opportunities to present itself for me, and so from leaving the downtown YMCA, I ended up going to the Northwest YMCA, which used to be when it first was created, it was the African American YMCA. It was just an outdoor pool, and so by me going over to that branch, they were doing a major renovation and wanted a person of color to go in and cultivate the staff and the atmosphere there from a wide perspective. And so once I got that opportunity, I was actually presented a director's role at that time,
Hmm.
but I had to turn it down because school was getting tough, and I told my mom, I was like, "Look, I'm bringing this diploma home no matter what." So
Right.
it's getting a little pushed, and so after I did graduate from Tennessee State with a psychology bachelor's degree, my advisor, my executive director at the time, actually approached me and thought that I just had this big plan built up to leave the YMCA and I was going to work this big fancy job afterwards. And it was the complete opposite. I had nothing
Um,
planned for after I graduated. I was like, look, my goal was to get the paper. I was like,
right.
that was hard enough
That
for
was
me.
it.
I was like,
That's how
I
much
haven't even put I haven't even put focus towards what's going to happen after that. I was like, look, I'm crammed right now. But they say that you are supposed to, have a career in a place that in within a field of things that you love to do.
Yes.
And so my executive director was able to help me realize that at the time. He was like, man, when everybody comes to the Y, they ask for you before they ask for me. It was like, you pretty much run the building for me. You can't see that you're already in that
Mm.
administrative position way before your time. You just got to put the proper resources to get you there. And so
Yeah.
from that point, I did consider to take the YMCA as a career option, with a target in becoming an executive director of my own branch one day.
Nice.
And so here I am today. Been with the YMCA 14 years as of now.
Wow.
And um,
Congratulations.
thank you. Thank you. I came here to Atlanta in the summer, June of 2021.
Yes.
And so my VP here at this location, she found out about me in Middle Tennessee, and went through a couple of her resources. I'm sorry about
Mhm.
my lights there,
No worries.
but she went through a couple of her resources
Mhm.
and found out about me, got a contact with me, and told me about Atlanta. And the first thing that I did when I went to the Atlanta website page for the YMCA is I saw people of color,
Yeah.
and they were in high positions with the YMCA, high ranking positions from executive on up. She was Miss Montiel is a African American VP. That
Yes.
alone gave me inspiration, being coming from Middle Tennessee, where you only actually have one person of color who is an executive director, and that person is the
Wow.
executive director at the Black YMCA.
African American
Uh,
one.
and so when I saw that, the demographic of the staff here in Atlanta, off the rip, I had hope, and my fire was rekindled for me wanting to continue to move up in the YMCA. And so when I first got to Atlanta, I applied for the executive director role at the East Lake YMCA. I was rejected from that role. I didn't get
Wow.
that opportunity, so I was a little discouraged. I was like, "Hold on, Atlanta, y'all reached out to me." I was like, "Y'all found me
Right.
like
What's going
this
on?
role, and then you turned me down." But I
Mhm.
received a phone call a day later and was like, we did not position you in that role for a reason. We believe in setting people up for success, and so we want to place you within a role that you would basically be a stepping stone for you, that you would be set up for success for your next role. And so that's where I took on the associate executive director role at the Andrew and Walter Young Family YMCA. With working with Miss Montiel, my VP in the Southwest community over off of Hamilton Road, there I was deeply invested in the experience in the work that I was putting over there. And so last year, I'm a strong believer in God, in the way that He works, and that He makes everything happen for a reason. There was a reason why I didn't get the East Lake role. There's a reason why I was brought from Middle Tennessee, and so. Last spring, the executive director of the Villages at Carver YMCA retired. Um,
Wow.
and so here we go. October of
Mhm.
2022, I was announced as the new executive director of the Villages at Carver YMCA, which I'm proudly to lead this branch, and the staff, the team here, and the members here within the Carver community.
I love that. And that story is so just inspiring to hear that you were a college student, your girlfriend at the time, now your wife, is the one that told you to put your application in to the YMCA. See, this is Women's History Month too, so y'all better listen to the wise woman out there. Um, and
Tell
thankfully,
me.
yes, and you started, you got yourself in a door, and I think that's so important because we're thinking about career pathways, especially for our young people. Sometimes young people don't want the process. They just want to jump into the position without the process, and they want the immediate executive or managerial level without going through the proper steps. But your story really depicts the process behind leadership. It's starting in something that's so small, and it reminds me of extra scripture that says, "Despise not small beginnings." So starting off small and not even realizing where it would take you, but just staying with it and sticking with it and being in the role before you were actually given the position is extremely important because you were making yourself available. You were already walking in that title essentially without having the title and the pay, and people refer to you as such. So I think it's so important. These are values that we really have to pass down to our children and to our kids and teach them, because a lot of times, again, you know, especially with summer youth. I'm not sure if you all have summer youth employment at the Y there, but it's a huge learning curve when we're teaching our kids how to stay with something, how not to leave a job. You've only been there for a month. Where are you going? Stick
Mhm.
with it. Learn something. Sit under leadership and have a mentor, which is essentially what you had as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that I, kind of pride myself from being in the role that I am in now is that I'm able to share the things that were kept as a secret for me. I don't have to
Mm.
keep those things as a secret.
Yeah.
How I got into my role as a person of color. Other people don't have to worry about that because I want to share it. I want to give that out to my staff. And so, even with me being within the role that I am in now, and that's me reaching my goal. With me reaching my goal, I now have to set a higher goal. I just can't settle back on that.
Love it.
I'm now an executive director, and the journey has stopped. And go ahead and put my crown on my head. Like,
Right.
no, no,
I've done, I've
because
arrived. No, there's more.
there's more, because just like there's a small pool of African American executive directors, there's a very, 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 very smaller pool of African American CEOs. And so I tell myself, why shouldn't I challenge myself to become a part of that circle? And
That's right.
so now I've have to reposition myself to say that, okay, the journey doesn't stop. I got to get everything that I can learn within this role, but also equip the next person to take on my role so I can continue to grow and become a VP, and then eventually becoming a CEO of my own YMCA association.
Yes, yes, and I'm so excited listening to you because I'm thinking about two thoughts. One thought, and I heard a leader say this. It's actually his name is Brian Meadows. He stated that when you're on your way to the top is when you actually start to mentor and train those to take your place, not when you're going on your way down, or when you're about to transition off to the earth. You start to do that when you're still young and vibrant and you're on your way to your top. That's when you start mentoring and getting those in place that would essentially take your place. And I think that's important that you're mentioning that, because a lot of times that's not the mindset of a lot of Black people in leadership. Sometimes they're threatened and they feel afraid that if I mentor you, you'll take my place. But in reality, there's not enough of us at the top. There's not enough of us making decisions and sitting in seats of influence that will allow policies and systems to change. And so I love the fact that you're so committed to creating that pathway and that access for our young people that are coming behind you.
Yeah, and I strongly believe in that. One of the things that when you was mentioning that pops in my head is when they paint that scenario of when someone's about to walk out and they say, "All right, well, who's coming with me?" If you don't have one person
Right.
to raise their hand and say that I'm with you, I'm coming with you, then there should be some self contemplating that you should take place, and and think about experience that you put within others, those that surround you, as well. And so that's, like I said, that's one of the things that I love to pride myself on, is making sure that I connect other people with that. And it's not just people of
Yes.
color, but that's anyone who wants to be a leader in general.
Yes.
I always push for people to become, not only get a mentor, but once you get a mentor, set a goal to become a mentor yourself. Easy, like let's set those set reachable goals for yourself. And that's something that everyone can reach, is that everyone has something that they can show the next person. And that's what a mentor is that you having that one niche that you can help pass on to someone else, and just to help inspire and help them grow. And so, with me coming into my role here at the Villages at Carver YMCA, everyone who I've met with on a one-on-one basis now is in the process of doing a performance review, or they are setting their career goals, because it's my initiative and my personal goal is to help them reach those goals, whether that's to stay within the YMCA, or give you the proper resources that the YMCA have for you to take it beyond the YMCA, and be and achieve whatever your field and endeavors are.
Love that. I love that. And you talked about mentorship um, quite a number of times, and I think it's so vital, especially to our generation of young people. You said some things, and it really essentially is when you see yourself, when you see leadership that looks like you see yourself in that leader, and then it gives you the hope and the motivation and the drive to want to accomplish or want to aspire to be in that same level or that same position. So when you talked about your experience in Tennessee versus Atlanta, how different it was, because out there, only one person of color, one Black person, that happens to be at the African American Y. But here, where there's so many people in leadership, our kids really need to see that. They need to be able to see themselves in the people that's leading them. And so I think it's so vital. Mentorship is the other element. So it's not stopping there. So don't just get into the position and act like you didn't, go through what you went through. Because I think that's the other challenge, right, James, is that sometimes we get into these roles and these positions and we're like, okay, we've arrived. But what we forget to do is turn around and to
Mhm.
really pour into the next generation and pour into our youth so that we can train them and we can mentor them. But the benefits of mentorship are manifold, they are unlimited. There's so many non-monetary and monetary benefits to mentoring a child and a young person. So having these type of programs, I think, are very essential to supporting our youth in today's world.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And one of the things that I am like just extremely proud of as far as programming wise is before I left Middle Tennessee, I was in an initiative of launching a youth male mentoring program. And
Nice.
so it was called Voice of a Man. And, you know, it was just something that hit my spirit and I had to make it come true. So I reached out to some of my, you know, fraternity brothers and some of my Mason brothers. And so, you know, we brought this program to life. And so we did it kind of like a, you know, probably like a quarterly initiative. And then, you know, me leaving the Middle Tennessee Association, you know, I was kind of down about having to
Mhm.
leave that program behind and whether someone else would have the passion that I have to keep it going, in which they
Mm.
didn't. But um,
No,
like I said,
not yet.
I said it earlier. God makes things happen for a reason, and 2 months with me being within the Atlanta Association, my VP at the time had a meeting with me about a grant, a new grant that was being presented to the association,
Mhm.
and our branch was selected to launch this grant off, which was surrounding a program for boys that we have called
Wow.
Boys and Young
Isn't
Men
it-
of Color,
Wow. The same
and so
exact frame that you had, the same mission for young males, and that opportunity opened up. And because your heart was in the right place too, and
yes,
you really wanted to help our kids.
absolutely. And so this program came with the funding. The program was just not there. The program needed to be implemented and created. I had the
Right.
program, I had the curriculum. So let's do it. And so since then, we have launched the Boys and Young Men of Color program at the Andrew and Walter Young Family YMCA, which last year we hosted up to about 40 young men in that program, especially tag teaming with a local school that's Fulton Leadership Academy, which happens to be an all boys school. Leading
Wow.
up to today, and with me leaving the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA, coming over to the villages at Carver YMCA, I had to bring the program with me. And as of today, we have the program within the Andrew and Walter Young YMCA, the villages at Carver, also with three off-sites, school, Woodland, Thurl, and Skyview. And so, as of right now, we have over 140 kids signed up for that program, which are all males.
I love that. I love that. And these are the type of programs that we need. Programs designed, especially when we're talking about targeting Black boys, right? A lot of times I'm really big in making sure that the people that look like the kids are the ones designing the program, not necessarily implementing, because we get a little twisted, right? We may staff, which is important too, may staff people that look like the kids, but the people that are behind the designing of the program should look like them too, because they know what it's like. They have the lived experience. So that the lived experience is so valuable to allowing you to develop the program, to developing the services and the activities that are going to be most relevant and useful for the kids. So tell us what some of those activities look like. What are some of the things that you do with the young males?
Yeah, so the Boys and Young Men of Color program is a weekly program that happens every week, and we have different initiatives from bringing in different speakers. We've created a basketball team out of one of the program locations and implemented them into one of the basketball leagues. It's about meeting the boys at where they are and finding out what's their niche. And once we find that out, how do we capitalize on that? We, like I said, one of our cohorts, we found out that our boys love to play basketball, and they are none. These are non-members of the YMCA. So when we talk about what getting access, that's what the main motive of this is to let's give them access to the branch,
Yes.
to the YMCA. I think about myself growing up in Memphis. I never walked into a YMCA as a child.
Wow.
My first time walking into a YMCA was in Nashville, Tennessee, when I was applying for an application. I wish that I had a YMCA to go to when I was
Mm,
when I was a child. There was a YMCA in Memphis when I was growing up, but it wasn't anything that you would go to, at
mhm,
that time frame. It's a beautiful YMCA now, but back
mm,
then it wasn't, cared for in the sense that what it should. So I grew up from a sense of going to different community centers, which, give a different type of resource from the perspective of what a YMCA does. So that's why
right.
I'm so prideful for being in the role that I'm in now and being able to give the access and give the opportunities that I do for the young men that we have here. So we do different initiatives as far as linking up with different community partners. We've taken them to Atlanta Braves games.
Love it.
To a We've taken them to a Falcons game,
Nice.
but we've also brought in, different people. Like I've had, a panel of all Black attorneys to come in, and so they can
Love
see
it.
this for their eyes, so they can envision this. I've had
Mm,
a panel of all Black or African American people of color who work in a filming aspect or filming industry to come in and just to give these different types of opportunities of access, to have access to people who look just like you, but they're professionals, and it doesn't have to always circle around going to school, going into college, and things like that. Like we can do both. We can build you a path to go down college, and we want you to at least have 3 colleges that we help you reach out to and learn how to get yourself into college. Don't wait on anyone else, or don't try to depend on anyone else. Let's make the initiatives yourself. And the same thing for the workforce. We at least want you to identify 3 different fields of the workforce that we can plug you into those people. If we got to reach out to our resources at the airport and reach out to our resources at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, we will take care of that piece there, and we'll
mm.
equip you on how to present yourself to move forward with that. So those are just a few of the initiatives that we do with those boys.
No, I love that so much. And it really is access, right? And that's exactly what you're doing. You're creating access because a lot of times programs, excuse me, they'll provide the service, but then nothing happens after. It's a service is provided, but the impact is not as great because there's still that young person or that family is still in the same place. But if you actually not just provide the tools, but the access to get there, I think that is the part that's missing. So I love the fact that you're pulling on networks and you're bringing in people and you're connecting the young people because that's exactly what they need. Um, the name of your YMCA Carver Villages, it really takes a village. It really takes a village. It's not just one place or one program, right? But it's all of us coming together, utilizing all of our networks, connecting to make sure that our kids are set for the future and for the present. And a lot of times that is access. That is what especially our Black young people are missing. It's not the motivation, because if you speak to a lot of these kids, they'll tell you, I have a dream. I want to do this. I have a vision. I want to start a business. I want to be a lawyer, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to start. I don't know where to start. And so access really connects them to helping them reach their destiny or reach their full potential. So I love that you're doing that. I am just really proud of the work that you're doing at the Y. And I know we recently had an event there and was able to pour and speak into your amazing young people. And we definitely appreciate that. We hope that we have more partnerships to come, especially in the area of entrepreneurship, which we didn't get to talk about, which building generational wealth, especially in our Black youth, is very essential and important as well. So setting them up for success and whatever that looks like.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you guys are a family now. So once you do one event with us, and hey, you're tied in now. So anytime
Love
that
it.
you are willing to help reach out our youth and our members here, we're always willing to tag team. And also, thank you for the invite today. This was very inspirational as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we're wrapping up, but we want to thank you again for your time, James. Thank you for the work that you're doing with the young people out there. Thank you for being such a role model and example to our Black men out in Atlanta and other places as well. We're really excited about the work out here in Metro Atlanta. We're looking forward to continued partnership with you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in, for listening, whether it's on your lunch hour or whether you're driving or whether you're just laying down listening. We appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to share this message out. We want to make sure that we're lifting up this conversation. It's really important. We're talking about community issues, social issues. We're talking about our young people. So share this message out on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, wherever you're listening. Also, don't forget to subscribe again to our channels. We want to make sure that you're notified when new episodes are coming out, when new shows are coming out. And if there are topics that we are not covering that you want to see happen, please reach out to us, inbox us at info@iraceinc.org. Thank you all so much. Again, happy Women's History Month, happy Social Work Month, and all of you have a wonderful day. Stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Thank you, James.
Bye.